life. The possibility of whole populations being annihilated, either through genocidal policies or systemic neglect, follows not only from the fact that there are those who believe they can decide among whom they can inhabit the earth, but because a vulnerability to destruction by others characterizes all modes of political and social interdependency. And I feel like it's this last thought that she doesn't quite go to. A different social ontology would have to start from this shared condition of precarity in order to arrive, I think, at a social ontology that does not decide in advance who counts as human and who does not, who deserves to live, who deserves to die, and matters such as those. I'll just stop there. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I had to fumble a little bit at the end in order to cut it quick, but I didn't find an elegant way to do that.
Good.
You sure you want to make the first comment this evening?
No.
You could defer.
No.
It's the ultimate act of authority. Do you know that, right? If you give up your sovereign position.
I know.
You are so powerful.
I give you though, because you know I'm a fool, so
I know, no.
But if you let me say two words.
Okay, go ahead.
From the love of her life, I don't know, but she was the love of his life, Martin Heidegger. That's the Identität. I think in English translated as identity and difference. So he makes the case that identity is not A equals A. So is the A with itself is the A. Also there is a room, a place in there. He does not call it a dialogue in this, but it is something is happening in there. So that is what makes identity such a powerful thought in that. And the second thing, your question, how thinking is also an action. You know, it's Heidegger's bauen, wohnen, denken, building, dwelling, thinking. And in this article, he kind of demonstrates how all three are very similar. They are saying the same in a different way. There is no thinking without dwelling. There is no building without thinking, and so on. So there is the activity in there is there strong. And what I learned from Hannah Arendt is that she complemented Heidegger's mortality with her natality.
Yes, that's also true.
Natality is never put into in any way in a center. It was just on the way. She's just mentioning it, but it is this hope and affirmation that the human being can begin anew, can give birth to a different kind of life any moment, which is no other philosopher has had such a Vertrauen, such a trust in the abilities of humans. So, and I think that is again why thinking is action, is changing, and it's changing your life, not just another idea you might have about this or that. And therefore, the word judgment, unfortunately, she died too early. The New School did not pay her enough, obviously. So, no, that is not even a joke. And we were all very angry with the New School because the New School never paid the teachers enough money. So, and she was kind of angry too. But anyway, at least they gave her a space, and she was very good in her space. Okay, that was just my comment. Okay, so gives you a little pause for the discussion.
Okay.
Okay, Nilo, please.
In your notion of shared precarity, does Arendt's attribution of unprecedented judging to the aesthetic realm legitimate her vacillations, her equivocations, or even inconsistencies that are perhaps symptomatic of any raw spontaneity of thinking? and that also precede her version of Eichmann's sentence? And also, does she implicitly disavow her own responsibility for making an unequivocally closed argument? Are you suggesting that we, according with this Kantian aesthetic overture, can allow her in our reading of her thought action the lack of closed certainty before judgment, before thinking, action, and terminally that sentence?
I'm not sure I'm following perfectly, because it's probably late and I'm a little exhausted. But if I get what you're saying, I have a number of problems with her turn to. I find it totally interesting why she turns to Kant's third critique, but this idea of an unconditioned judgment and an unconditioned spontaneity that we would somehow have recourse to when we have to make judgments of an historically unprecedented sort. It strikes me as enormously idealist, and it's very romantic. And what I worry about is that not only is judgment itself not in some sense conditioned, which is not the same as being determined, right? Conditioned by language, by culture, by situation. It's radically unhinged from any kind of cultural, historical, and linguistic grounding, okay, or embeddedness, to put it kind of loosely. And I also think that the fact that she never allows the considerations of the body into the zone of thinking, or the zone, neither the zone of thinking nor the zone of politics, makes it really complicated, because, how would we compare Arendt's idea of thinking to, say, what Nietzsche offers in The Will to Power, where it's very clear that thought is part of physiology, or that there is a physiological vicissitude of thought, or, there's a kind of very stark separation between this pure spontaneous judgment and embodiment and historical and linguistic embeddedness. And I just think we need to come back down to where we live a little bit.
Do you think she's disavowing her own equivocations by saying, like throughout this text, by placing import on the aesthetic realm?
Her equivocations between what and what?
Well, there are various vacillations and inconsistencies that we've brought out within the text. And do you think that she's would ask us to overlook those in light of the raw or spontaneous quality of her thought, where she perhaps loses control?
Well, I don't know what she would want of us, but I do think that some of the equivocations we've been following, like the equivocation between the I and the we, or the equivocation between the self and sociality, are actually constitutive equivocations. That they're not just recurrent tensions and problems, but they actually symptomatize or offer a kind of a problem of a chiasm that recurs. I'm not sure she conceptualizes that right. So, what she wants of us is maybe less important than what we might read there as crucial.
Yeah. Our professors want to be quiet here, not to get into trouble. Come on, we have still a few. Please, yes.
I have a question. When you were talking about Eichmann, you mentioned the phrase, the call of conscience, the silent call of conscience.
I don't think I did.